Hello, everyone. I'm Lauren Nile, and I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts on the most recent mass killing, the one that took place just yesterday at the community college in Oregon. You know, the fact that we can't get reasonable, sane gun safety laws passed in this country is abominable. It's inexcusable. Now, what would those who oppose such laws say? Well, they say, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Well, finish the sentence. Of course people kill people. Guns don't have their own arms and legs and their own fingers to shoot and pull their own triggers. But people kill people with guns. People kill people with guns. When's the last time you heard of a mass killing with a machete, with a butcher knife, or with a kitchen knife for that matter? If current shooters, if the current mass killers were committing their evil deeds with those kinds of weapons, you might have one person injured, perhaps, maybe two, maybe one or two people tragically killed. But you wouldn't have the numbers of people hurt and injured. You wouldn't have 5, 10, 15, 20 people or more taken out by a single person who just comes in with a magazine clip, an automatic weapon oftentimes, and just shoots them, just takes them out. You wouldn't have those kinds of killings, the numbers of people being killed by one person. So to say that guns don't kill people, people kill people, that's so obvious as to be irrelevant and an insult to my intelligence to think that that's actually a reasonable argument. People kill people with guns. I mean, you know, the fact that all law enforcement, pretty much, around this country is speaking with one voice on this should tell us something. Police department after police department after police department all over the United States is basically singing to the same tune. And that is that they are outnumbered. They are outgunned. That criminals have more guns, and indeed often better guns than they do. You don't have to take yet another survey. Police department after police department, study after study has shown that consistently that's what police departments across this nation will say over and over again whenever they're asked. I mean, I would say that I don't get it. I don't understand why people don't want reasonable gun safety laws in the United States. After all, if you're a law-abiding citizen who wants to buy a gun, own a gun, possess it in your home, use it for hunting, use it for protecting your family, it's not going to hurt you. So I don't get it. But I can't even say that anymore because I think I do get it. What I get, the it that I get, is that the leadership of the National Rifle Association, not even the membership, but the leadership, a small number of people who run the National Rifle Association, have done an amazing job of manipulating the hearts and minds of many Americans. Not the majority by any stretch of the imagination, but certainly they've done so for many Americans. Having them believe that if any reasonable gun safety laws are passed in this country, if any are passed, they're going to come for my guns. Oh, they're after our guns. They're going to take our guns. We have to protect ourselves from the government, among whatever other enemies they may have in their mind. They've done an amazing job, the NRA, of convincing thousands and thousands of Americans that that would be the end result of any kind of gun safety laws. Ridiculous. Just the opposite of true is true. If you are an American citizen who is a law-abiding citizen who wants to buy a gun, own a gun, possess it in your home, use it for hunting, use it to protect your family, you have nothing to worry about. Gun safety laws are intended to not allow people with a history of mental illness to get their hands on guns so easily. The intention is to not allow people with a criminal background, an established criminal background, to get their hands on guns so easily. They're intended to not allow people with an established history of terrorism, people who are on terrorist no-fly watch lists, to not get their hands on guns so easily. That's what these laws are intended to do. And yet we can't even get them passed by the Congress of this nation. We have a Congress who sits on their hands and will do nothing because the NRA controls them. The NRA has them by the nose. I just don't get it. Other countries, other developed countries, other industrialized countries, do they have people with mental illness? Of course. Do they have gangs? Absolutely. Do they have people who will commit crimes of passion because they are furious for some reason at their spouse or their fiance or some other loved one or friend? You bet. But do those same countries have the number of mass killings that we do in this country? No. And why is that? In large part because it is so difficult to get your hands on a gun in those other countries. That's why. That's the difference. They have the same dysfunction, the same emotional dysfunction that we have in our country. But they have reasonable gun safety laws that prevent people from so easily, willy-nilly, getting their hands on guns. If Columbine wasn't enough, if killing 20 innocent children and 6 adults in Sandy Hook, Connecticut wasn't enough, if gunning down a newscaster and her cameraman on air for thousands and thousands to witness live wasn't enough, if shooting a sitting U.S. representative wasn't enough, I don't know what will be enough. I used to be naive enough to say, you know what? After each mass killing, after the latest one, I used to say, well, now they'll stop. Now the NRA will come to its senses. Now they'll stop being so evil. Now they'll stop opposing every single effort to get reasonable gun safety laws passed. This one will do it. I used to say that. I don't anymore. I've become that cynical, tragically. Because if all of those incidents, if all of those innocent people losing their lives, and all the thousands of others, hundreds of others perhaps, that I have not listed, if they aren't enough, then nothing's going to ever be enough. Nothing will ever be enough. We'll just see massacre after massacre after massacre with nothing being done. I have no more faith that the NRA will ever move on this. What I do know is that if the American people move on it, things will change, and rather quickly. Things will change. But we have to have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of American people getting out into the streets saying, no more. It's enough. It's enough. Until that happens, the carnage will continue. And innocent people, and innocent children, and innocent infants will continue to lose their lives. It's enough. It's too much. I'm done.